Imagine begging your own family to help save your child's life, only to be met with excuses while they spend a jaw-dropping $250,000 on a single wedding night. The glittering chandeliers, the designer dresses, the endless champagne, none of it mattered when compared to a child's heartbeat. But for them, appearances were everything, while compassion was nothing. What they didn't know, though, was that life has a way of flipping the script. Because today, the very people who abandoned me when I needed them most now stand at my mercy. It all began when my daughter was diagnosed with a rare condition. The treatment wasn't optional, it was urgent, life-saving, and terrifyingly expensive. Insurance wouldn't cover it all, and I found myself drowning in medical bills that were growing faster than I could keep up. I wasn't asking for luxuries. I wasn't asking for comfort. I was asking my family to step in, not with millions, but with enough to give my daughter a fighting chance. I reached out to my parents first, expecting their unconditional love to show up in action. I pleaded, explained, cried. But all I received in return were cold stares and rehearsed lines about tight budgets and not being able to help. What cut deeper wasn't just the refusal, it was the timing. Because only weeks later, they announced the grandest, most extravagant wedding for my sister. A wedding with a budget so astronomical it could have covered my daughter's treatment 10 times over. I'll never forget walking into that wedding venue. Crystal chandeliers sparkled brighter than the stars, roses imported from Italy lined every corner, and the catering menu looked like it was pulled straight out of a royal banquet. Guests were dripping in designer clothes, while my daughter was at home, pale and weak, fighting for her life. They spent $250,000 in one night, half on a ballroom, a quarter on dresses and jewelry, and the rest on food, photographers, and a band flown in from across the country. My sister's gown alone could have paid for an entire round of my daughter's treatment. And yet, when I begged them for help, they'd claimed they had no extra money. Watching them laugh and dance that night while I thought about hospital bills and sleepless nights was like swallowing glass. In that moment, something inside me broke. I realized family didn't always mean love. Sometimes, it just meant blood, cold, selfish, and indifferent blood. Left with no choice, I worked tirelessly to raise money on my own. I picked up extra shifts, sold personal belongings, and launched fundraising campaigns. Some strangers donated more generously than my own flesh and blood. Every dollar I scraped together felt like a victory, every sleepless night a small sacrifice compared to the chance of saving my child. Meanwhile, my family avoided me. Calls went unanswered, texts ignored. When they did respond, their words dripped with guilt-shaming, suggesting I should have planned better or managed my money smarter. As if anyone plans for a child's rare illness. Through grit, determination, and the kindness of outsiders, I managed to cover the treatment. My daughter slowly regained her strength. Watching her laugh again was priceless, but the bitterness in my heart grew. I swore that day, if life ever put the tables in my hands, I would never forget how easily they let me drown. Years passed. My daughter recovered, healthy and strong. Life gave me chances I never expected. I launched a business, poured my pain into hard work, and built success from scratch. Ironically, my family barely acknowledged my achievements, treating me as though I was still the desperate one. But then, karma knocked. My father's once flourishing company went bankrupt. Legal troubles followed, debts piled up, and suddenly the family's lavish lifestyle crumbled. My sister's marriage, built on money and spectacle, dissolved in a bitter divorce that left her financially stranded. For the first time, they weren't the ones sitting on thrones of luxury. They were desperate. And here's the twist, I had the resources they needed. My business was thriving. I had connections, funds, and stability, the very things they had denied me when my daughter's life hung by a thread. They came to me. Heads low, voices soft, asking for help. The irony was so sharp it almost made me laugh. When they sat across from me, begging for financial relief, I remembered every sleepless night I'd endured alone. I remembered their dismissive faces, their fake excuses, and the clinking of champagne glasses as my daughter fought for breath. I could have said yes. I could have been the bigger person. But why? They weren't there when I needed them. Why should I empty my heart and wallet for people who measured love in dollar signs and chose luxury over humanity? So I told them the truth, I had the money. I could help. But I wouldn't. The silence that followed was deafening. Their faces twisted from disbelief to anger, but I didn't waver. For once, the power was mine. I had survived without them, thrived without them, and now I no longer needed them. Walking away that day felt like reclaiming every piece of dignity they had tried to strip from me. Family is supposed to be the safety net you can always count on, but mine proved that blood alone doesn't guarantee loyalty. They taught me that money meant more to them than compassion, and when the tables finally turned, I chose myself. I chose the daughter they had once refused to save. Today, I no longer ache for their approval. I no longer beg for their love. Because the truth is simple, when they showed me who they were, I finally believed them and I walked away free.